Wow. So I started watching The Batman and let me see what I texted Michael. It was emails, but I did check Michael's text. He said, their clues are endless. I have a tie to August 2nd, the movie The Sixth Sense in the year 1988. Also, the famous line from the movie, I see dead people, comes to 121, 726, Antichrist. And then there's a Bible verse, 1316, but blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Amen to that. So I started watching The Batman last night. And I could tell you, it's very dark and didn't really like it at first, but it's not a bad movie at all. It's rated extremely high. I think it's second only to The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises. It's not as good as one, but I mean, this thing, The Batman, IMDb. The Dark Knight, IMDb. All right, so I won't just spare you looking them all up. So the Batman has dropped to an 8.0, which makes more sense to me. It was higher than that. And The Dark Knight Rises is 8.4. It is better. And in my opinion, it should be. And The Dark Knight is the best at 9.0. So the Batman has dropped, which, yeah, makes more sense to me. Anytime you're in the eights, that's still extremely high. And the movie definitely started to grow on me as it went. It is way totally different than just like we were told, because I watched all the pre stuff coming in until they got into spoilers, and then I backed away. I'm not putting anything on Telling Truth 3 from it and not going over it with you line by line or scene by scene like I do complete breakdowns. I'm going to wait until I get the 4K. The 4K I ordered a while back. It's not going to be here till the 24th, but lo and behold, it's already on HBO. And I was just flabbergasted at that. And it is close to a 3-hour movie, which is why I didn't go see it in the theaters. I'm hoping to go see Top Gun, right off the bat in the theater so I can help y'all understand or see. Because you got the Dallas Mavericks, which Michael said their logo is the white horse, and there's Top Gun Maverick coming out. So, and we know who their Top Gun Maverick is. That's, of course, the Antichrist, Trump. So, but the Batman, if you remember the movie Seven, if you ever saw it, it was like the whole time the movie was shot in dark rooms. It was just dark, 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 dark. Same with this movie, The Batman. It's very dark, but it's intriguing, and it is what you would call a sleuth, kind of a mystery, where Batman takes on the role more of an investigator instead of an action hero. There was one action hero type scene that looked so fake. I was like, I don't like that. I like the way they were making him more human and less, but when he went flying through the air and tumbled on the ground and rolled, and imagine what kind of speed he was doing, 100 miles an hour, and then he gets up, and he's okay. So it was, and he hit the deck hard. So it just wasn't, I like to keep that kind of stuff believable, but whatever. So, but what's interesting is that Jeffrey Wright, which was Earl's cousin, there was Earl Wright and Jeff Wright, number 2 and number 45. Jeff Wright was number 45, which of course is Trump's big number and Candy and I's first 2 digits of Candy and I's combined number. And Jeffrey Wright is in all these movies. Jeffrey Wright is in every 007 movie as the CIA, whatever his name is. We'll get to it because it's in my email to Michael. And but he's always 007's friendly sidekick, and he died in the last movie also. And wouldn't you know, because this is what they do, guess who his sidekick, guess who because we know 007 and Batman are both the Antichrist Trump, and Jeffrey Wright, Jeff Wright, number 45, Auburndale Bloodhounds, Jeffrey Wright. Yes, they're not trolling me. Jeffrey Wright is the sidekick of 007 as Felix Leiter. There, the name popped in my head, Felix Leiter. And of course, Jeffrey Wright, the actor, is Batman's number one sidekick. Not even Alfred comes in a distant third, Catwoman second, but Jeffrey Wright, the cop, by far the main sidekick. So he's 007 sidekick. So again, with the same stuff, he is Lieutenant James Gordon in the movie. Okay. And interesting, Colin Farrell was Oz. The Paul Dano character as the Riddler, we have to remember Paul Dano as they do what we were talking about. Actors will drift with the same real character, but behind the scenes. Paul Dano has done he was There Will Be Blood. Love and Mercy, a movie I really liked a lot, you know, from a fleshly standpoint. But if you remember There Will Be Blood, he was Paul Sunday, Eli Sunday. I don't know. Were they twins? But Paul Dano, There Will Be Blood, YouTube. So Paul Dano was this guy's son, and There Will Be Blood. And of course, he played a preacher. And he's the Riddler. And what is the Riddler? Well, it's Jesus speaking in parables. All their villains are characteristics of God. They hate God. So God's the bad guy. Mr. Freeze, because of the North Pole being frozen over, the abyss being frozen. I just got through watching the, you know, the Mystery Babylonians put out a fine movie concerning how the earth is not a spinning ball. I think I gave that to you, didn't I? But here he is. This is the guy playing the Riddler.
Touch this woman with your hands.
And he's also, of course, a false preacher. And so go figure that he is also now transitioning to what they would call the false preacher, as Jesus, as the Riddler, parables, riddles. Jesus spoke in parables to not be understood by the goat world, to only be understood by the sheep. That was his exact words. And Jesus, why do you speak to them in parables? He said, for them it is not meant to know the mystery of the kingdom, but for you it is, because they had the Holy Spirit, or the God-given ability to understand, however you want to put it. We know later, after Jesus ascended, though, the Holy Spirit was Jesus coming back as God in the spirit sense. So that's who's playing your Riddler. I will finish the movie tonight, good Lord willing. Never want to say anything for sure what you'll be doing with your life, because you always say, you know, if it's God's will, good Lord willing, I will. The Robert Pattinson Batman character I actually liked. It is entertaining. I'm getting into it. I'm digging it. It's definitely all alpha male type movie. There's a little romance that comes in here with Zoe Kravitz. I haven't gotten that much farther with it, but I wrote to Michael, I said, it says dark is the movie. It's as dark as the movie Seven. I voice texted this. It's not a very good movie, in my opinion. Of course, it changed as I went. I will say that. Perhaps it will pick up, and it did. But the 37 progressions from the release date of March 4th, marching forward. My friend, my best friend, one of my best friends in the fleshly sense, been friends for decades and decades. His birthday is March 4th. And I told him, I said, the Batman's being released on your birthday. And I didn't tell him happy birthday. I don't celebrate anybody's birthday. And he was like, yeah, March 4th. He goes, marching forth. I heard today on the radio or something. I was like, well, good. Oh, there you go. Marching forth, marching forward. And so that's kind of, they picked March 4th as the release date, or March forward, or marching forward. The progression hits on day 100 of March 4th. And then the next progression, it hits on day 100. After that, it's 100 days plus our regular 37 progressions, like 137, 174, 211. Instead of 111, 258 instead of 158. I'm sorry, instead of 148. Yeah, let's go through it. So let's go through March 4th. Hang on. So it hits on day 100, which is April 10th. And when you start, it's really easier to use a calculator, isn't it? So you go 100 plus 37. So it's 137, 174, 211, 248. Yeah, so I thought that was a mistake. That's why I went to this 248. And then instead of 185, it's 285. And then instead of 222, it's 322. So it will fall on day 322. Days 248, which I do believe is August 10th. Is it? So when we go through the progressions, whoops. May 17th, which of course is coming up. Now that's the next progression of the Batman release date, which I think this is a very important progression. And we know that May 16th, May 17th timeframe, May 18th is whopping for us. Whoops. Then it hits on June 23rd when the tower fell over there. And Marissa is in her 886 days old range, 8862, I think she is on that day. Yeah. And then next up, you have 148. The next progression will land on July 30th. A big one. 185, September 5th. Not so big. And then 222, which is day 322 of the year. No? I can't remember. No. Oh, because I didn't start this on February 10th. That's why. On April 10th, I mean, April 10th. That's day 322, November 18th. So if you do it from that date, then it's day 322 with 222 progressions. So one below that, it would fall on October 12th, day 185, and so forth. So day 322 is 222 progressions from that release date, which would be a day to keep an eye on. November 18th, that's the day after the Deadly Wound Bible verse. And like we told you, the Deadly Wound Bible verse does land on this May 16th total lunar eclipse as a progression. When you backtrack it, it lands right on it. this May 16th, and then you advance 37 progressions and another 37 and another 37, it does land on November 17th, which is why May 16th is probably the number one day for this month. So anyway, but when the 4K disc comes in, I will go back through, rewatch the Batman, and show you a lot of things that I got out of it. Oh, I wanted to see if it landed on April 20th. That's a good, hang on. And it does not. It lands on April 15th. So twas not a match for the Abomination of Desolation, but it might be somewhere in these progressions. It might be a match for the Deadly Wound Day. We'll just have to see. I shouldn't say it's not a very good movie. I continue to write to Michael. I guess it's actually pretty good, but it's just different. The first death is to Mayor Don. Believe it or not. Yeah, Don, D-O-N. Mayor Don is killed in the movie right off the bat. And when I voice texted that to Michael in this email, I corrected it and wrote D-O-N, but it did spell D-A-W-N, which is the name of my first wife. Now remember, she's got Obama's birthday. And her name was Dawn Michelle, and she goes by Shelley, always did. And the mayor's name was Don Mitchell, almost like Don Michelle. Without the T, it is Don Michelle, and how you would pronounce it. And my first wife was Don Mitchell. The trolling continues, LOL. The first progression is May 17th, day 137. Like anything else, something to keep an eye on. Of course, the sidekick supporter of the police officer is Jeffrey Wright, which is the name of Earl's cousin, number 45, and was always 007 sidekick as Felix Leiter. I'm guessing I'm going to need to pull up photos of my high school yearbook, and it says "You're both," but the voice texting, I said yearbook, and it says "You're both," as they were 2 years ahead of me. But Jeff Wright, his name was Jeff Wright. We didn't call him Jeffrey Wright, but Jeff Wright was a superstar that ended up going to the University of Miami, along with 3 other Auburndale Bloodhounds, all in the same graduating class of 1977. The movie releasing on the March 4th is 3-4 coding, as there is 34 years between 88 and 22. And Don Michelle, of course, also Obama's birthday. So that was my prep. Michael's got 3 items. Then I'm going to get to your comments. I got 2 comments, but we'll do them last because it's sort of off topic. It's Bible related, and I'll always do that last because this is not my Bible study channel. And some of y'all do not come here for Bible study, but if you want to stick around and watch me go over it and judge me, because I want you to judge me. That's really your job, is to judge me. Michael says, Israeli military kicks off Chariots of Fire war games. Ahmed, heightened tensions, Israel news. Israeli military kicks off Chariots of Fire war games. Amid heightened tensions is the headline. Very interesting. Next up, we have the movie Chariots of Fire. Looks like March 30th, 1981. Chariots of Fire, Wikipedia. Yep, 1981. Yep, March 30th. 124 minutes. I never watched it. It just looked boring to me, but it got a lot of acclaim. Chariots of Fire, with the progressions from its release date of March 30th, Michael says that it lands exactly on our date of 5/16, the total lunar eclipse. Of course, there's no way that that's true. So we're going to prove Michael wrong. 1981. That's just preposterous, Michael. There's no way. There's no way we have another movie that they've just coded to us from Israel. There's Michael's making this stuff up. I'm telling you, Michael's just full of drama. And make sure we got the right days. 3/30/1981. Yeah, no way. It comes to 15022. No way, that's a perfect progression. Whoops. Looks like Michael was telling the truth, y'all. 406 progressions. Wow. Michael, outstanding, my friend. Killer info here. Good stuff, sir. That's a great way to close out Michael's. This needs to be loaded immediately. So just to save time and more lines and more scrolls, Batman Begins release date, Chariots of Fire release date. Kind of put those two together. Do we have any more release dates? Yeah, we got The Omen. I should just put them all together, shouldn't I? The Godfather release date and The Omen release date. Yeah, I should put all these together. Save space. Yep. So we got them together now. So there's a couple movies where I've doubled them up. The Godfather release date, The Omen release date, Batman Begins release date, Chariots of Fire release date, all hit on that 16th. But we don't have any Trump also said I am the chosen one. But we don't have any eclipses that, oh, yes, we do. December 14th, 2020. The Pokey Poke Day hits right on it. Why is that so significant for him going down? Because the whole illness was the ritual for him receiving his crown, his corona virus. So, among other things. So the 16th again, I am the chosen one. One of the most significant total solar eclipses that we have pertaining to any of this Trump fake deadly wound coming staged event. Obama's birth certificate day, Obama's birthday, because the birth certificate was made such a big deal. And it's also the day he turns 22200 days old. And remember, I did on Easter Sunday. Now I'll tell you something else about this 16 that's crazy. Let's finish it. Godfather, Omen, Batman Begins, Chariots of Fire, all of that. But very specifically about this May 16th, my friend Robin on, when you look at Trump and I's combined number, Trump is 163-464-82362. Fascinating that I have the 8 and the 36 in my number. 8's a triangular number of 36, 36 triangular number of 666. And she turned that many days old. Whoops. She got the May Day birthday. She turned that many days old on March 11th. And then 33 days later, I turned that many days old. And then 33 days after that is May 16th. So we've got a lot. And I showed y'all that. Showed you from her May 1st, 1985 birthday through the progressions that I'm not through the progressions, through the date calculator that she turned 13463 days old. And I thought that was pretty fascinating. Because if you look at what's left over is the 8. So I took her number and my combined number, because I'm 82362 and she's 9925. And so I took that number, our combined number, because that's what you're looking at, was me and Trump's combined number. You're looking at her days, then my days, and then an 8. So I took her number, combined it with my number, and then multiplied it by an 8. And I got 53, or my next marriage number, in between a 69. I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. And what's left over was the 5428. And when I did 53 times 69 times 5428, I literally got her birthday, because it's May 1st, 1985. I was just like, that's crazy. But that's kind of like the magic, if you will, of the Lord in numbers. And he taught me this language of how to speak, and it's ever evolving. There's no textbook on it. It just keeps evolving, because you saw what I did right then, right? How I took, just that language of Trump and I's combined number. And anyway, y'all seen it. I can't, it's so much, I can't even go back and tell you what all I did. And all that's left over from her May 1st, 1985, it's her birthday sitting there. Fused together, 1985, 501. What's left over? There's that 9-6 or that 6-9 again. And the number 69 always meant to me was taking something low. See how the 9 starts very low and then brings it out at the top, which is basically what the Lord does with his sheep, isn't it? He takes us as lost sheep, takes us from our lowest self. And by the time he's done, he's with us, he's conformed us to the image of his son. We have to go through that process of being pulled out of the world, have the world beaten out of us. He chastens and scourges us, and he beats the world out of us to where the world ends up hating us, because he has called us out of the world. And once that process began, it never ends to the day you die. You don't just get saved and all of a sudden one day you're saved and then you can go back to being a nincompoop. No, you will be ever evolving in the positive direction. So, yeah, this May 16th, because it does come down to that day, is just fascinating. Or maybe it's just something that happens to me. Maybe it's something that happens to my friend Robin. Maybe it has nothing to do with Trump, this lunar eclipse. Maybe the next lunar eclipse is Trump's, in November. Or maybe Trump's is all about Sirius the dog star. I would like to see what day sits right in the middle of the 2 lunar eclipses of this year. Hang on, let's take a look. So they're 176 days apart. My birthday is 7/6, oddly, which is also the number for Adam in Strong's Concordance, New Testament. 176 days. Hang on. I already knew that. 176 divided by 2 is 88. So now we're going to go up 88 days. Really can't make this stuff up, can you? 88 days, the exact midpoint between the 2 lunar eclipses is August 12th. 88 days past the first lunar eclipse of this year and 88 days before the second lunar eclipse lands on August 12th. And we have to remember that Sirius the dog star and a full moon are just one day before that, August 11th. So August 11th, August 12th, could just be a bunch of coincidences. Michael understands that August is big, but Michael keeps us very focused on one day at a time. And I like that. But Michael understands that the license tag that fell off saying out of time was an August license tag in Back to the Future. It was an August license tag. License tag, Back to the Future, out of time, August. And there's a picture of it right there. It says August. If you click images, you will find one with the August on it. Well, there you go. So it's August. It's got California, 1986. It says 52654. I'm not even going to get started on 52 and 54 or 526. But never ends. Anyway, fascinating stuff. Of course, we're looking forward to August. August 2nd, Michael said that something landed on August 2nd for him. And was that in a text or was that, hang on. August 2nd, 1999, Prince Music Theater. August 6th, 1999, release date, Los Estados Unidos. 107 minutes long. Okay. So it was the release date, not a progression or anything like that. If y'all want me to load that, I can. I don't think The Sixth Sense would have something to do with his offing, if you know what I'm saying. I think we have enough items to get that done. Are we done with everything else except comments? All right, so some Bible study questions. If y'all want to go, you most certainly can. If you want to stick around, fantastic. I'm glad you're here. I'll give you 5 seconds to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, glad y'all are still here. Nice one. Out of topic. In which cases divorce is allowed? I can't anymore. Nice one. Thanks. I have a question out of topic. In which cases divorce is allowed? Does Jesus call us to be victims sometimes? Well, biblically speaking, the only biblical reason for divorce was infidelity. If you're already married and you've come to the truth, but you weren't married in the truth, but you've come to the truth and you're still married, and the marriage doesn't fulfill you, it doesn't make you happy, just take it to prayer. Let God be true and every man a liar. To me, if you understand the truth, see, through my 2 divorces, I was a Catholic astrologer. That's basically how I labeled myself. Played the fornication game left and right, a club guy, a bar guy, occasional Mary Jane smoker guy. Loved talking astrology to people. And said, hey, it's got to be good with the Lord. I learned it in my Catholic church. It's the first time I saw a zodiac wheel. And then I watched Know Your Enemy and explained the Catholic Church and its astrology and what the Catholic Church is really all about. And I quit both in one day, which was, we just celebrated that 10-year on April 13th, which is when I did turn 22196 days old, which is and me and Trump's combined number. Anyway, so we have been over that. We've been over that Bible verse that when we come to Jesus, we are a new creature. Bible verse. I can't ever remember that, can I? So 2 Corinthians chapter 5, King James Version, Bible Gateway. So therefore, if any man be in Christ, and my process began in 2012, like I said, 10-year anniversary, but the Lord didn't show me the truth in his word concerning God doesn't love everybody, that it's all about election predestination, hell is not eternal torment, until 2017. Hell is Not Eternal Torment came the year before in 2016, but then the Lord made sure I learned that before, so I would be able to really understand election and predestination, which he showed me himself, just through making me study through an enemy. And the enemy was pinning me down, and the Lord led me to various Bible verses, and then Lord allowed it to pop right in my head that it's a calling. You're called. And because he pinned me down on the New Covenant Bible verses where it clearly states that man no longer teaches man to know the Lord. And he says, we're not in the New Covenant yet. He says, we're still in the Old Covenant, because isn't man still teaching man to know the Lord? And I was baffled for a week plus, a week to 2 weeks. I can't remember exactly, but in the month of April, like everything's always the month of April, it seems like, where the Lord said, yeah, man doesn't teach man to know the Lord. The Lord teaches man to know the Lord. There's no free will. And from there, because I was actually in the book of Romans in my readings at that time. So there you go, right? And yeah, I mean, we clocked it all the way back and looked at it in my Bible studies. And I was in Romans from March through April. And Romans is where you learn about the calling. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called. Who he called, he also justified. Who he justified, he also glorified. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called. The Lord does it. And that's why it says in the New Covenant, I will put my law in their inward parts. Who does it? God does it. What did he say in John 6? No man can come to me unless it were given to him of my Father, which have sent me. So when you get the call, for me, it really began in truth in 2017. Well, I was divorced in 2009. Okay. And so I've been single. So when I was called to Christ, I did become a new creature. In my brain, it says old things are passed away. That includes my divorces. Now, if I was still married when I became this new creature, then I would understand I couldn't divorce. But I divorced both my wives. And first one was kind of a shotgun wedding, got my girlfriend pregnant. Her mom found her pills, took her off the pill. She was already an adult, but it didn't matter. And because she was still living with her mom. And so it was. And next up was a marriage I ran into and then ran out of. I was in love, in the flesh. Things broke down between me and her. And I knew why in 2011. I realized how weak I was. The Lord showed me how weak I was and helped me understand what being a man is and how man can't be weak to women. If you're weak, they get turned off and they can't help it. And I didn't understand those things. And so right before the Lord pulled me out of fornication in 2012, he did. And I stopped fornicating in 2012. But in 2011, he showed me through earthly, worldly things what being a man was. And I took that stuff and I just started really running through women left and right with it, using these techniques of how to act and how to be. And it's really these archetypes of what you see in James Bond or Batman or what Trump, and see, that's what Trump's persona is he's this alpha male, manly man. He doesn't put up with anybody's crap. You know, you can't be weak. Your woman can't see you as weak, or she will be turned off. She cannot see you as needy. If you're calling all the time, texting all the time, where are you at? What are you doing? Blah, blah. It's just, they have a mechanism that shuts off. They're like, I'm not turned on by this guy. So women always end up falling in love and marrying. If they fall in love with a man they truly love, it's a man that was a big challenge to them, that it took them time to bring this man to her. It's kind of like the cat playing with the string. You give the cat the whole string and it's no longer having any fun. If you dangle it and dangle it and dangle it and play with it and play with it, and that's what women actually want and need. They need a challenge. They need their man to be a little on the difficult side. When you watch James Bond or you watch Indiana Jones and you see all these alpha male manly archetypes that women on the screen go, that's my kind of guy right there. He would defend me at every stop, because the mechanism that lies deep within them also, of course, is safety. That an alpha male character keeps the woman safe. And so the Lord showed me all these things, and I just morphed into that mindset. And boom, it was working. I was very aggressive. I became more aggressive with women and how I spoke to them, more confident. I never showed weakness. And all of a sudden, I wasn't having massive problems in that category, but I noticed that my game, my fleshly game, ramped up. And then a year later, the Lord said, yeah, you're not having sex anymore. I said, got it. Fornication is wrong. I'm no longer going to have unmarried sex. And I haven't. And fooled around second base, third base, first base, third base, second base, up until 2017. And by 2018, I was even clear of that through the Lord's doings. And which is fine. If I find somebody, if the Lord puts me with somebody, that's his will. It's something he's had happen. He made it happen. He ordained it from before the foundation of the world. And, and you can say to yourself, nope, that's adultery, no matter what you say, Trey. And if you do it, you're not a sheep. Therefore, and all I can say to you to that is, look, if I'm not a sheep, there's nothing I can or can't do that will make me a sheep. And if I am a sheep, then there's nothing I can or can't do that will not allow me to be a sheep. And of course, we know the Lord has his parameters. Galatians 5:19 through 21, King James Version, Bible Gateway. We know the Lord has his parameters, that if you don't follow through with these things, you won't be a sheep. It's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, it says, if I were to truly stay in adultery, let's say it would be adultery for me to get married, remarried, even though I became a new creature after my 2 divorces. But let's say you say, no, Trey, you're wrong. You would be committing adultery. Then therefore, I met somebody and I married them, committing adultery and staying in adultery, never repenting of it, to where it says, I tell you before, as I told you in times past, you people that do such things shall not inherit the kingdom. Then by proxy, I'm a goat. And the Lord would allow me to get married because he would be saying, well, you're a goat, so go ahead and get married. You're not mine anyway, so to speak. Right? And if I did get married and I ended up being a sheep, then of course that would fall in line with what my mindset is that if any, therefore a man be in Christ, he is a new creature and old divorces are passed away. All things have become new. Actually, it says all things are passed away. I lumped in my divorces there. So that's my opinion on it. Now, I'm assuming, Migger, I tell you all that just to give you my story on it, because you're going to have to make up your own mind. You're going to have to pray on this. If you're currently married and it's intolerable, what do you mean by being a victim? You know what I'm saying? Is he cheating on you? You could write him a letter of divorce immediately. The Bible says that. Jesus says that. Even in New Testament terms, if he's cheating, that's grounds for divorce. you know, are you able to get remarried from that? I'd have to go back and look at those scriptures. I would think so. Just because that marriage more than likely was not in the truth. Were y'all truly married in the church? And I mean, when I say that, I mean in truth. And you might be able to apply that anyway. I don't know. You're going to have to figure this out yourself. Let God be true and every man a liar. I'm a man. So you're going to have to speak to the Lord about it. He's going to have to speak to you about it. If you're a goat, it doesn't matter what you're going to do. And if you're a sheep, no matter what you do, the Lord will end up making sure you are purged of that sin or that you don't do damnable sins. Either way you want to look at it. So it's a fantastic question. It's a great question. If you have any more questions, just ask. Better to ask through a new question. If you reply to this and they're disappeared, if you reply to it, it will only show, your reply will only show up in notifications. And therefore I might miss it because it only pops up once in notifications. And once you click on notifications and pop off of it, it never shows up again. Sometimes I pop on it to see what videos are out of sites that I follow. And then boom, it just disappears. That notification that you made will disappear. So, and you can always email me. We can always eventually talk on the phone, but starting off emailing might get the job done. My email is trae455@hotmail.com. trae455@hotmail.com. And so just ask away anytime. Love y'all very much.